I tallied up the votes, and this is the verses you guys chose. Make sure to vote for next verses by clicking the link at the top of the screen. Luke Skywalker from Episode 6 meets Qui-Gon Jinn on a deserted battlefield. Both fighters are armed with their own designated lightsaber. This is a battle to the death. Who wins the Battle of the Green Lightsaber Jedi? I don't know. I don't have a better one. Now before I begin, as I say in every single one of my verses, this is just my opinion. So let me know your opinion in the comments below. Also, if you enjoy this verses and you want to see more, make sure to click the link at the top of the screen to check out my verses playlist. Now without further ado, let's jump right in. Checking out Luke Skywalker. Luke is proficient with a lightsaber. He has been stated by George Lucas as being the strongest Jedi in all of Star Wars as far as force powers go. So yeah, he's extremely powerful. Luke is relatively strong-willed, being able to even defy the Emperor's dark influence. He's one of few Jedi who are actually able to use dark side force abilities such as Force Choke and not be sucked into the actual dark side. He also has a cybernetic hand, increasing his physical strength. Now for cons. Although Luke Skywalker is overall pretty strong-willed, he does become a little sloppy with his lightsaber fighting under great stress, hence in both Episode 5 and Episode 6. And although Luke is powerful, he hasn't actually completed his entire Jedi training, which means he possibly has more potential to unlock. And you guessed it, he doesn't wear any body armor. Now let's take a look at his competitor, Qui-Gon. Qui-Gon Jinn was extremely powerful in the Force. So powerful that after death, he managed to transcend the physical plane and return as a Force ghost, later teaching Yoda and Obi-Wan how to do it as well. He was also a proficient lightsaber duelist. May I remind you, his master was Count Dooku, who was also known as one of the strongest duelists in his respective era. And although Qui-Gon is 60 years old, he is in good physical shape. Also, his mind and body are very in tune, and he's able to keep his mind calm and collected under great stress for a long period of time. We see this during his fight with Darth Maul in the end of Phantom Menace. Now for the cons. And like I said, although he is a strong warrior, he is still 60 years old and considered past his prime. A good example of his body not being able to keep up with his fighting spirit is what we see when he's fighting Darth Maul in the Phantom Menace. Although Qui-Gon started strong, he did grow slower and more tired, which unfortunately resulted in his death. For although his skills with the lightsaber are impeccable, his body just couldn't keep up anymore. Plus, as you guessed it, he doesn't wear any body armor either. So in conclusion, this victory could go to either fighter. And although I personally like Qui-Gon more than Luke, this is a non-biased fight. We have to go off of what we see. And overall, it comes down to who is the stronger fighter. And with all the facts laid on the table, I'd say the winner is Qui-Gon Jinn. Now let me just state, I'd understand if you'd pick Luke, that's okay. Luke was said to be the strongest Jedi, but here's my reason for why I'd actually pick Qui-Gon over Luke. Now right from the start, we can say both Luke and Qui-Gon are proficient in lightsaber ability and Force abilities. And although Qui-Gon is very powerful in the Force, we'd have to give it to Luke into who is ultimately the stronger Force user. But when it comes down to pure lightsaber skill, I'd have to give it to Qui-Gon, especially considering the circumstances. What I mean by this is that Qui-Gon has trained with a lightsaber and in the Force ever since he was a young child. So we could assume, since he's 60 in Episode 1 and he was training ever since he was a Padawan, we could say he has about 50 years of training. And in comparison, Luke only had like 3 or 4. And even that's kind of spotty because he kind of trained himself in some spots. So although I would say Luke is stronger with the Force, I honestly believe Qui-Gon would be smarter with it. And like I said, when it comes down to lightsaber skill, I gotta give it to Qui-Gon. The fact he could take on Darth Maul and push him back as far as he did before finally succumbing to his age and wavering stamina shows just how good of a duelist he really is. In fact, the only advantage I'd give Luke over Qui-Gon is that he's younger, he's more in his prime. So overall, he can hold up much better physically. So I see the fight going like this. First, Luke would attempt to take Qui-Gon down with the Force. And although Luke would be strong with the Force, Qui-Gon would be trained how to defend against it, and would be able to block it or even counter it. So they jump into sabers. And though Luke is good as well, Qui-Gon's skill is next level compared to his. Now here's the pivotal point that could go either way, because I personally feel Qui-Gon would be able to break through Luke's defenses and take him down. But if Luke is able to defend against Qui-Gon and hold off the Jedi Master for a while and let him burn out his energy, then he might have a chance. But overall, although Luke would be able to hold out for a while, I do personally think Qui-Gon would break through his defenses and take him down, resulting in Qui-Gon Jinn as the victor. But of course, this is just my opinion. What's your opinion on this fight? Let me know in the comments below. Please remember to like and subscribe for more videos, and until next time guys, I'll see you tomorrow. Peace.